Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Welcome to the Biker Devotional. Good morning, Rhonda and Victor, Kevin, Pastor Joker. Good to have you. So, there are many of you as well that have joined me, and I am so grateful for all of you. The reality is, it is May 31st, 2024. We get the special privilege today of looking at Proverbs 31. The 31 days doesn't come every month of the year, does it? And yet, it is a chapter that we get to read a few times a year. And it has a couple of themes within it. The first theme is about a young man who's about to become a king and getting direction. And the second is about a husband and wife relationship and what those look like. Now, I'll be honest, I spend more time talking about the husband and wife relationship because, well, if I'm honest, part of it is because of insecurities of my past and the want and desire to have a godly marriage. And so I spend the opportunity that I read in Proverbs 31 to look at what that looks like and what's my part. But today, I think it's more important for all of us that we look at the other part. Starting in verse 2, what should I say, my son? What should my womb? What, my son of my womb? What, son of my vows? Don't spend your energies on women or your efforts on those who destroy kings. It is not for kings, Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine or for a ruler to desire beer. Otherwise they will drink, forget what is decreed, and pervert justice for all the oppressed. Give beer to the one who is dying, wine to those whose life is bitter. Let him drink so that they can forget their poverty and remember their trouble no more. Speak up for those who have no voice, for the justice of all who are dispossessed. Speak up, judge righteously, defend the cause of the oppressed and the needy. So, as we're looking at that, I want you to recognize something. Every time I don't go here because for so many years, I've read it as me being able to see my permission to drink in there. And that's not what it is. It's recognizing who you are. And realizing you're not the person that should be drinking. It says it's not for kings to drink wine or to desire beer, because they will forget. That's for those that are dying and those whose life is bitter. Now, I realize you think your life is bitter. I have had many occasions, and matter of fact, I was lamenting this morning some of the struggles that I've had to deal with, some of the things that I've watched within my community, the apathy of this world. And I know it'd be really easy to drown my sorrows, right? The mother of the king reminds him, as a young man, probably, and I don't have details here, I haven't gone and looked it up, but you can figure it was a young man who was put in the position of king and was still in his probably early years, teens probably. And she's reminding him, you have a position and you have a responsibility. Don't go chasing after forgetting, because you have a huge responsibility. I need you to hear me in this. If you're listening to this, you are set apart as a king. And while we might want to forget our troubles and our sorrows and our struggles, you have a responsibility. Speak up for those who have no voice, for the justice of all who are dispossessed. And it doesn't mean radical activism. It means living correctly. This last week, we spent not this last week, but the week before, we spent the whole week doing exactly that. It wasn't radical activism where I was marching on Washington demanding things. It was standing up for what was right. We read the Bible from beginning to end, out loud, 94 hours straight through. I didn't do all the reading. I did many hours of reading, but I didn't do all the reading. And I'm grateful because I did less reading this year than I did the last 2 years. But I sent the Word of God out to do its work. And I know it won't return void. Those that read sent the Word of God out to do the work, knowing it could not return void. We're also told we need to judge rightly and defend the cause of the oppressed and the needy. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You defend the cause of the oppressed and the needy where you're at, where you have influence. If you're a senator, you have a whole lot more influence. If you're a pastor, you have a whole lot more influence. If you work at a factory, you have a whole lot more influence in that factory than I do. You have a whole lot more influence in that factory than a senator does. You even have a whole lot more influence in that factory than the President of the United States. Have you ever thought about that? This is not giving you permission to drink. This is challenging you on the fact that you have a position and you have a responsibility. So what are we doing with that today? Something to think about, isn't it? Guys, I love y'all. I hope you have a great day. God bless.